My best friend Sophia pushed me to confess my feelings to my childhood sweetheart Ethan at the class reunion. Little did she know they'd already been secretly dating. She just wanted to humiliate me publicly. So instead, I confessed to Ryan, the school's bad boy who secretly loved me in our past life. Surprise! This prom queen just got reincarnated. While waiting for the elevator at KTV with Sophia, I noticed guys staring. That's prom queen Vivi. She's even prettier in person, one whispered. Total goddess. I'd kill for a girlfriend like her, but she's way out of my league. Sophia stood stone-faced beside me, though I noticed her fists tightening inside her jacket sleeves. It hit me. She resented me long before this night. Her face suddenly lit up seeing a familiar figure. Ethan, over here, coming. Sophie. Ethan smiled, quickening his pace. When he reached us, I deliberately stepped back 2 paces without glancing his way. His smile faltered. Viv has something to tell you tonight. Sophia nudged me, but I shook her off. My attention shifted to 3 approaching guys. Ryan's here too. Dude, your new sports car is sick. When can I take it for a spin? My gaze locked onto the drowsy-looking boy twirling car keys. Ryan, his posture stiffened when our eyes met, dark bangs shadowing his face as he quickly looked away. Good evening. I greeted first. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Since when did prom queen Vivi and school bad boy Ryan know each other? Ryan cleared his throat. Evening. His friends exchanged knowing smirks. Ethan glared at me with that familiar irritated expression. Since when do you know Ryan? His tone dripped with condescension. Since when is that your business? I shot back. Sophia immediately jumped in. Ethan's just looking out for you. You shouldn't hang out with that type. What type exactly? I challenged the 2-faced layer type.
Oh wait, that's you.
The truth was, after introducing my childhood friend Ethan to Sophia, she'd secretly seduced him while pretending to support my crush. All those times Ethan grew distant, I never suspected my best friend's sabotage. When Sophia tried dragging me aside to stick to the plan, I yanked my arm free. She stumbled dramatically into Ethan's arms. Vivian, Ethan barked, cradling Sophia. Apologize to Sophie now. His shout drew everyone's attention as he advanced on me threateningly. I stood my ground, watching my former friend and childhood sweetheart reveal their true colors while across the room. Ryan's keys stopped jingling as he watched intently. The next second, my back collided with a solid chest carrying the faint scent of sandalwood. Instinctively turning, my forehead brushed against the boy's nose. Ryan studied my arm, guiding me to face Ethan. His palm felt broad and warm against my skin, quite the temper. Ryan remarked flatly, enunciating each word. Reminds me of my family's guard dog. He was defending me. I remembered this moment from my past life when Ethan's cruelty had reduced me to silent tears. Back then, Ryan had been leaning against a wall nearby, pretending to chat with his friends while his stormy gaze never left me. His knuckles had whitened against the brick, veins protruding like cables beneath his skin. That night ended with me fleeing to my dorm in humiliation after Ethan's public rejection. The next morning brought rumors Ethan had been hospitalized after a mysterious accident. Now I understood whose hands had orchestrated that justice. Come on, Ryan. That's unfair to your Tibetan Mastiff. One of Ryan's crew drawled, sauntering over as curious eyes turned our way. The elevator doors stood open, yet no one moved to enter. At least your dog's got spirit and actual value. Ethan's voice cut through the tension. Looking for a fight. Ryan corrected, his smile razor sharp. That implies competition. Crushing you would be recreational. The threat hung tangible in the air. I stepped aside politely. After you, Ryan. Sophia intervened with nervous laughter, pushing Ethan toward the stairwell. Just a misunderstanding. Vivi, she shot me a meaningful look. Remember why we're here tonight? I clenched my fists. In my previous life, Sophia's manipulations had led to my public humiliation when Ethan chose her. Overnight, I'd fallen from campus darling to social pariah, the homier who allegedly pursued and taken man. The depression that followed eventually forced me to drop out. Yet, through those dark days, anonymous letters arrived weekly, always a single blue aster and 3 handwritten words. You're not alone. Only in death did I discover their author, the quiet boy who'd blush whenever our paths crossed. Memories surged, making my shoulders tremble. Ryan seemed to sense it. His voice uncharacteristically soft. Viv. The elevator dinned. I moved automatically, only to jerk back when the doors began closing. Ryan's arm shot out to block them, pulling me against his chest. Someone wolf whistled as my heartbeat thundered against his shirt. He kept his hand braced against the door frame. Profile sharp under fluorescent lights, fair skin defying logic for someone constantly outdoors. Lips startlingly red against his marble complexion. The penthouse throbbed with bass until Ryan's arrival dampened the music. His resting scowl could silence a nightclub. Sophia waved from a velvet booth. "Over here, Vivi." Every cell in my body screamed to walk the other way. Ethan stared straight at me. In the past, whenever he looked at me, I would definitely walk towards him. But things are different now. I'd sit wherever Ryan and his little buddy sat. The two little guys were a bit flattered. "What's the big day today? The school belle is sitting with us. The guys over there are going to be so jealous of us." Damn it. Ryan's mouth twitched. He stifled a laugh and slapped the guy on the head. "There's a girl here. Don't swear." I suddenly thought that this notorious bad boy in school was actually quite cute. We just sat there in groups. During that time, Sophia kept giving me meaningful looks, but I just pretended not to see them. Finally, she couldn't hold it in anymore. "Vivi, didn't you say you had something to tell Ethan tonight?" Her voice went up an octave, making the other classmates look over. "Vivi, don't leave any regrets. Say all the things you've been wanting to tell Ethan for all these years tonight." I'm curious too. There was really a lot of information in those words. The surrounding classmates started gossiping and chatting. I smiled and nodded. "Sure, I really do have something to say in front of everyone tonight." I didn't miss the extremely excited yet jealous look in Sophia's eyes. "Vivi, just say it." She couldn't hold back anymore, and her voice was trembling with excitement. Ethan was looking at me coldly, looking annoyed in the dead silent air. I stood up, walked up to Ryan, and said loudly, "Ryan, I've liked you for a long time. Be my boyfriend." The whole place was in an uproar. It was like a depth charge had been dropped, and the whole place just boiled over. "Holy hey da hey." Ryan's little buddy went over and nudged him in shock. The guy seemed to be frozen on the spot. A blush quickly crept from his earlobe up his extremely pale face. He stared at me, his Adam's apple bobbing, and there was a glint in his dark eyes.
Are you serious?
He said hoarsely. "Of course." I smiled sweetly. "What?" Sophia shrieked. She didn't care about pretending anymore and rushed in front of me. "Vivi, why are you confessing to Ryan? Weren't you going to confess to Ethan?" "Ethan?" Seeing Ryan's eyes dim a bit, I turned around and saw Ethan had also stood up from the sofa. His face was as black as thunder. I laughed softly. Why would I confess to him? He's not even my type. "Vivi." I'd never seen Ethan look like this before. Surprised, shocked, hurt. In disbelief, all sorts of complex emotions flashed across his face one by one, and he walked over. "Ethan, what are you going to do?" Sophia almost instinctively grabbed Ethan's hand. I laughed. "Sophia, I really have to thank you for always persuading me to like him. But isn't he your boyfriend? Right, Ethan?" I looked at Ethan and he silently confirmed my words. "No." Sophia was shocked and anxious, trying to defend herself. But at this moment, everyone had their own thoughts, especially the girls. They could immediately understand what was going on tonight. Our class monitor, who was always straightforward, just said, "How disgusting. Always scheming against your own best friend. This kind of person can only act like a femme fatale in front of guys." Sophia's face flushed instantly. But to my surprise, Ethan didn't seem to care. I suddenly thought that he wasn't as clueless as he seemed. He just always allowed Sophia to bully and slander me. Ethan said calmly, "Vivi, are you joking with yourself? Just to get back at me?" I was really impressed by his self-confidence. I stared at him. "Ethan, you've always been trampling on my friendship. Do you still expect me to heal my wounds and come back to you? Where do you get the confidence to keep hurting me like this? Do you think I really can't live without you?" He fell silent. Ryan, thawing from his petrified state, snapped back to reality and stepped in front of me. The boy's earlobes flushed crimson like ripe cherries. "Whether she's joking or not, she's got nothing to do with you now." But I was being completely serious. I blinked innocently. In the next heartbeat, I grabbed Ryan's shoulders, spun him toward me, and pressed my lips to his. Ryan's eyes flew wide. The entire class froze before erupting into ears-splitting screams. "Holy Ditto King, we're getting this for free. Their chemistry is killing me. There goes my campus queen." Wait, Ryan's actually the only guy who matches her looks. The boy I was kissing stopped breathing. The faint scar near his eye disappeared under fluttering lashes. Ryan stared at me in shock, those ridiculously long eyelashes motionless. His reaction only fueled my mischief. Did this guy even know how mesmerizing his eyes were? Teasing this blushing virgin was too entertaining. I brushed my thumb over his swollen lips. "Ryan, you're burning up. Never kissed your girlfriend before." His face turned nuclear. Suddenly strong hands cradled my head as he crushed his mouth against mine with desperate intensity. 2 lifetimes, and this was my first real kiss. Never imagined initiating it. Maybe I got carried away, but seeing him like this, irresistible. Is this what proper dating feels like? So damn sweet. My eyes drifted shut. The whole evening passed in a daze. My last coherent memory was Ryan walking me to my dorm. As for Ethan and Sophia, blocked both before midnight. There's a crowd. Fine, I'll remove myself first. Sophia came pounding on my door minutes later. Viv, it's a misunderstanding. I never wanted Ethan. Her voice cracked. How could you ditch your childhood friend? You said you loved his maturity. I understood. Her only win against me had been stealing Ethan's attention. Her obsession wasn't love, just competition. Viv, please talk to me. She kept hammering until my roommate chased her off. I smirked at my glowing phone. Ryan's new message blinked. Are we really together? Don't mess with me. I am gullible. Laughter burst from me. I sent matching couple avatars. He changed his instantly. Ryan, still freaking out. TBH, Chivil, babe. See you in class tomorrow. Good night, boyfriend. Ryan, good night, girlfriend. His roommate later told me freaking out was an understatement. Ryan nearly tore their dorm apart that night, sprinting through halls yelling, Vivian's my girlfriend, till 3:00 a.m. when his voice gave out. He took an ice-cold shower, then did laps around the track. I lay in bed clutching my phone, heartbeat echoing his footsteps long into the night. In my previous life, the time I took a leave from school was spent swallowing pills and visiting doctors. I was no longer the envy of others. Yet, there was a time when I excelled academically, sang and danced beautifully. The undisputed campus queen admired by peers, a role model for underclassmen. After my fall from grace, everyone seemed to forget me. Everyone except him. Ryan Woods would never abandon Vivi. Because of him, the whispers behind my back gradually ceased. During the new prom queen election, Ryan even publicly cast his vote with my name. On voting day, I sat by my bedroom window, contemplating for the 100th time whether to jump. My mother burst in, phone trembling in her hand, choking out. Look, your classmates haven't all forgotten you. This boy wrote your name. The live stream showed the cavernous auditorium. Ryan, uncharacteristically dressed in a sleek black suit, walked alone toward the stage under countless stares. He moved with the indifference of someone who had never cared about anyone's opinion, yet placed the placard bearing Vivian Clark on the table with ceremonial gravity. That solitary vote shone brighter than any other name. Sunlight fractured through the windows as the boy gazed at the placard, lips curving. Frankly, this election is pointless, he remarked. The gap's too wide. The flustered host stammered. Ryan, are you sure? Absolutely. He lifted his eyes to the camera, conviction blazing. When Ryan chooses someone, he chooses them 1,000 times, 10,000 until he dies. I stared numbly at the screen, suddenly remembering the anonymous letters I'd received. One had a girl walking a comical little dog wearing a black jacket with a scar under its eye. The back read, "Dogs never abandon you, they love fiercely and loyally." The memory of that absurd doodle made me laugh. My first genuine laughter since falling ill. My mother froze, then wept as she hugged me. Now reborn. I'll never again fail those who love me. No one will destroy me again. The next morning, Ryan and I walked hand in hand across campus, drawing glances. His usually gelled-up bangs fell soft today, framing those obsidian eyes with eerie innocence. I desperately wanted to kiss him. A child skipped by clutching a candied hawthorn stick, round eyes sparkling, mesmerized. I shyly pointed. I mean maybe we could? Heat flooded my cheeks. Our genes would make beautiful babies. A boy with his features. A girl with mine. Ryan nodded solemnly. Got it. You'll have what others do. He released my hand, darting off. Where are you? Wait here, he called over his shoulder. Ryan Woods, must you be this dense? I plopped onto a bench grumpily, swiping through my phone. Footsteps paused before me. Ryan's not here, is he? My smiled-eyed. Ethan stood holding steaming soup dumplings, an uncharacteristic grin on his face. Skip lunch here. Your favorite Nanchang dumplings. He handed me the bag. I flipped it over with a swipe of my hand. Ethan, you know what? I've died once before, both physically and mentally. What I refuse most is repeating past mistakes. Sorry. My boyfriend's taking me to lunch soon. Pausing, I remembered not to litter and bent to retrieve the scattered items, tossing them neatly into the trash. Ethan kept smiling through it all. Vivian, you've always been that feisty little girl. I shot back coldly. And you've always been this delusional. As I turned to leave, Ethan raised his voice. Have you seen Ryan drunkenly brawling with his crew? Watched him gambling with dice and downing shots at bars? Do you even know how many girls orbit around him? He's probably just toying with you. I stared at him expressionlessly. His tone softened. You never interacted with Ryan before this. Vivian, do you actually like him? That troublemaker doesn't deserve My palm cracked across his face before he finished. Ethan touched his reeling cheek in disbelief. You hit me for him? Damn right. I glared. Venom in my smile. Insult my boyfriend again, and I'll do worse. Shock and something like grief flooded his eyes. The old me would never have raised a hand. The doxel girl who'd cry over his indifference. The hothouse flower he'd mocked for needing constant pampering. Back then, my tears stemmed from aching loneliness, from his refusal to ever take my side. Ethan, Sophia materialized from nowhere, fretting over his face. Are you hurt? This is too much, Vivian. How could you, Vivian? Ethan interrupted Vivian, eyes locked on me. You've changed. Thanks for noticing. I wiped my hands with sanitizing vigor before discarding the tissue. Sophia tugged his arm with stormy eyes, dragging him away. Ethan kept glancing back until they disappeared around the corner. Turning, I spotted the lean silhouette under the camper tree. Ryan stood haloed in morning light, holding a candy apple. His eyes crinkled when our gazes met. Ryan, I launched into his open arms, shamelessly enjoying how his toned waist felt under my grip. His embrace enveloped me completely. Viv. His voice warmed the crown of my head. You didn't need to defend me. Their words mean nothing. I know. I nuzzled closer. But no one gets to badmouth my boyfriend. Just like countless times I'd watched Ethan walk away with Sophia. Now I proudly interlocked fingers with Ryan, clinging to his arm like human jewelry. I let him feed me candy apple bites as we strolled to the cafeteria. Public displays of affection. Turns out it's instinctual when you're smitten. Over lunch, whispers floated from the next table. Who knew Ryan could smile like that? It's kind of her friends snorted. Dream on. He's taken Vivi's literally the campus queen. They're perfect. Since Ryan's computer science classes were cancelled that morning, he attended my small seminar with me. The intimate classroom buzzed awake at his presence. Even the sleepiest classmates perked up, stealing glances at the bad boy, calmly taking notes beside me. But what caused an even bigger stir was the arrival of Zoe Brooks, the other notorious campus queen who'd previously been spotted around Ryan. She'd recently taken a leave of absence, so her sudden reappearance shocked everyone. With her newly dyed black hair cascading down instead of her usual high ponytail, her sharp jawline looked even more striking. Her white tweed jacket hung open to reveal a daring bandeau top, making nearby boys blush and avert their eyes. I suddenly remembered Zoe had once been voted the computer science department's beauty, before adopting her tomboyish persona to hang with Ryan's crew. When she saw us enter, she drawled, well, look who decided to grace us with his presence. Ryan ignored her completely, tugging me toward the back row. Really? Zoe twisted around with a smirk, still giving me the cold shoulder after my confession. Can't we at least be friends like before? I'll even be your wingman again. Ryan responded with a derisive snort, meticulously wiping down my desk with disinfectant wipes. Her gaze shifted to me. So, this is your type now. Ryan, what's the difference between her and me anyway? Why won't you even look at me? That's enough. Ryan finally snapped, his jaw tightening. I don't want to yell at girls. Zoe cut it out. Fine, she chuckled, flipping open a manga volume on her desk, incidentally featuring Ryan's favorite art style. Meanwhile, Ryan was frowning at my calculus textbook with exaggerated concentration. Need help? I teased, leaning closer. His cheeks flushed crimson as he nodded, then shook his head. Let me walk you through it, I whispered, biting back laughter as I began explaining the problem. When I glanced up, he hurriedly looked away like a puppy caught chewing shoes. Ryan. I feigned sternness. Were you studying the textbook or staring at me? He met my eyes briefly before dropping his gaze. You? If you keep that up, the professor will call you out. His eyelashes fluttered. Still worth it. That familiar image flashed through my mind, a girl walking her dog, the loyal creature forever watching her back. Not this time, Ryan. I won't let you down again. After class, a guy pulled Ryan aside. The moment he left, Zoe slid into his seat, studying me intently. Don't staring. I closed my textbook calmly. He's really into you, she grinned, twirling a lock of her hair. Everyone says you're the campus belle, but I'm still shocked he chose you. Not that you're lacking, it's just that Ryan's always been extraordinary to me. Her phoenix eyes held no malice, only wistful admiration. I get it, I nodded. I'll take good care of him. Zoe reached for a strand of my hair. You know, I wore my hair down like yours when we first met. Some thugs had cornered me. Nobody stopped except Ryan came roaring in on his motorcycle like some dark night. Her smile turned bittersweet, that cold profile under street lights, wild yet pure. When he told me get on, I knew I'd follow him anywhere. Cut my hair short, fought alongside him, took on his enemies. Thought staying close would make him notice me. She exhaled shakily. First time I've ever lost to someone. You demolished me, Vivi. As I touched her shoulder in sympathy, Sophia burst in looking disheveled. Viv, she blurted. I need to explain about Ethan. Dating him wasn't my choice. He pressured me into keeping it secret. Vivian Clark looked up with a strange expression, arching an eyebrow. Sophia Lee continued, but we've broken up now. Viv, you'll always be my best friend. All men can go to hell. She grabbed my hand forcefully, tears glistening in her eyes. Let's go back to how things were before. Okay, let's be inseparable besties like we used to be. What exactly do you want? I smiled. Sophia, still thinking me as gullible as before, choked out. I knew you'd never abandon me. You're the best. Has that Ryan been mistreating you? If he dares upset you, I'll enough. Zoe crossed her legs lazily. This is getting nauseating. Who do you think you are butting into their relationship? Some kind of relationship counselor. Though unfamiliar with Zoe personally, Sophia clearly knew her reputation. She retreated instinctively, muttering, I'm just speaking up for Viv. If you don't like it, fine. But she hasn't objected. You're right, Zoe, I finally said. Sophia, who exactly do you think you are? I enunciated each word clearly. If I recall correctly, when Ethan and I were getting along, you kept insisting I shouldn't be bullied and wanted to confront him. Then somehow, you ended up dating him instead. Now trying the same trick with Ryan. Zoe snapped her fingers. We've got ourselves a classic manipulative attention seeker here. Professional bestie stealer, aren't you? After enduring multiple blows since yesterday, even the stranger's brutal honesty proved too much. Sophia stamped her foot angrily and fled the classroom. Meeting Zoe's gaze, we unexpectedly burst into simultaneous laughter. Maybe we could be friends, I suggested. Zoe scoffed. Hard pass. You're still my romantic rival. Frankly, I don't want to see either of you again after today. This was my last attempt. I lost, I concede. When Ryan returned later, Zoe had already left. The manga she'd been flipping through all morning now lay discarded in the trash. Its first page bore clumsy handwriting. Ryan Woods. Could you maybe like Zoe Brooks? The following days felt like living in a honey jar. Ryan spoiled me rotten, obeying my every whim while showering me with gifts daily as if compelled to give me everything he deemed worthwhile. His former arrogant demeanor vanished overnight with his new, clean-cut style and frequent smiles. He became almost unrecognizable to those who knew him before, constantly bragging to friends about having a girlfriend. Only later did I realize he hadn't changed his impulsive nature. He'd simply sheath his edges for me. Ryan even tried giving me the keys to his beloved sports car, which I firmly declined. I'd already received his greatest gifts, those heartfelt letters and lonely bluers during my darkest times. In stark contrast, Ethan and Sophia's situation deteriorated. Sophia gained notoriety, experiencing the same social exile I'd endured previously. Ethan grew increasingly withdrawn, radiating gloomy energy. Ryan and I often encountered him during outings. We never spoke, but I always felt his burning gaze following us after we passed. Christmas Eve arrived with heavy snowfall, the anniversary of my previous death. Moonlight illuminated the pristine snowscape. My lips still stung from earlier incidents, making me refuse to speak with Ryan until evening. The clueless guy prepared an enormous TikTok-inspired gift box containing apples and red envelopes stuffed with cash. I marveled at both his extravagance and painfully straightforward romantic expressions. The pedestrian street buzzed with couples. Girls' flushed faces buried in scarves while their boyfriends held mittened hands in coat pockets. Only my clueless boyfriend walked around with his jacket unzipped, insistently tucking my hand against his bare chest. Aren't you cold? I asked. Ryan grinned goofily. Nah, I'm burning up lately. I'd almost forgotten my boyfriend was once the school's most feared troublemaker. This softer version fed stray animals and showed patience in everything. Until commotion erupted down the street. My heart suddenly seized with bone-deep dread I couldn't explain. Shaking it off, I saw a drunk man collapse onto a girl. Her boyfriend started shouting until his friends intervened. The liquor-soaked man stood, slurring clearly, forget these basic college chicks. Let's hit that club. I'll drive. Ryan Woods halted in his tracks, his dark eyes bloodshot as he turned toward me. Viv, wait here. I'll get you that chocolate milk tea, he said with unusual intensity, gesturing toward the police checkpoint nearby. Stay on this bench. Don't move. I'll be quick. Something felt off about his urgency, but I nodded. Minutes after he left, my gaze locked onto the last person I wanted to see. Ethan stood motionless in head-to-toe black several yards away. I defiantly crossed my legs, remembering his cutting words from sophomore year. I could never fall for someone so recklessly bold. How ironic. I'd once stockpiled blue dresses because Ethan favored azure shirts. Sophia changed her hairstyle daily for Ryan's attention. Ryan himself had reinvented his entire persona for me. Now here stood Ethan in the color he'd always despised, another soul, reshaped by unrequited love. Can't we go back to how things were, Vivian? Ethan's voice cracked before Sophia entered the picture. I countered coldly, recalling high school mornings when he'd biked me to school in silent companionship. Back when he'd insisted we pretend to be strangers on campus, allergic to the attention my popularity brought. Back before he'd started bringing only strawberry milk tea for Sophia, forgetting I'd always preferred chocolate. His admission came like broken glass. She was faking it all along. I laughed bitterly. Letting her torment me was your idea of teaching humility. Your insecurity doesn't deserve forgiveness, Ethan. Zoe came running then, face ashen. Vivi. Ryan surrounded by drunk guys down the alley. We need police. The scene we found would haunt me forever. Shattered bottles glinting among bloodstains. Bodies littering the pavement. My voice emerged terrifyingly calm. Stay back. Even Ethan froze at my command, picking through the carnage. I found Ryan leaning against brickwork, knuckles raw but breathing. The boy who'd rebuilt himself for me had just dismantled 6 men alone. His battered face lit up when our eyes met, and in that moment, every societal expectation we'd ever bent or broken made perfect sense. He wasn't unheard. He just stubbornly held on until the end. Sophia was there too, kneeling on the ground, trembling violently as she mumbled something.
Yes.
The girl harassed by that drunk earlier had been Sophia. The guy by her side at the time was Ethan. Ethan couldn't let go of Sophia's docile sweetness, yet still clung to me, the childhood friend he'd grown up with. How could I not feel disgusted by him? I was just furious that Ethan had abandoned me again for her. I stormed off toward a less crowded area, coincidentally running into that gang near the parking lot entrance. I was so terrified I blurted out that our campus queen Vivian was stunning, and they should go after her instead. Sophia's entire body shook uncontrollably as she knelt there babbling until she finally collapsed. Ryan, who'd been half kneeling while struggling to stay upright, dropped his wooden stick and fell too. But the moment he went down I caught him. I felt droplets hit his shoulder before realizing they were my own tears. Why cry, Viv? The pale-faced teenager smiled weakly up at me. Look, I took them all down alone, like a kid awaiting praise. Ryan, I choked out through laughter. You idiot. Whether in our past life or this one, he'd always recklessly defend me. That fiercely protective boy who'd never let anyone hurt me remained unchanged. Ryan rested his head against my shoulder, murmuring, Viv! Unlike in the dream, I finally got to protect you this time. I bit back the burning sting in my eyes, tracing his features with trembling fingers. Puppy, I whispered. Let's go home. The last letter he'd sent me in our previous life flooded my memory. Blue hydrangeas symbolize enduring love and hopeless devotion. My love for you is eternal. Though I know you'll never look back. You'll never recognize some guy named Ryan Woods. You'll never realize blue was the color of your dress when I first saw you. That flowy sky blue sundress as you walked beneath the maple trees. Backpack swinging. The world sharpened into focus that day. I'd never seen anyone so radiant. I told my buddies, that's Vivian Clark, I'm going to make her mine. Funny how I turned out to be a coward instead. I watched from afar, rehearsing chance encounters endlessly. Then it hit me, someone that dazzling belongs to the world, not to Ryan Woods. That's when I desperately rushed out to find him, only to die in a car accident. But the universe gave me a second chance. Vivian doesn't belong to this world. She belongs to Ryan, my most beloved puppy. I whispered, tightening my grip on his hand. This time, I'll never let go.